That's Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levi, and joining me now is Flyweight prospect Diego Bautista. Diego, welcome to Half the Battle.
Thank you, Daniel. It's good to be here.
So, you got that Mexican heart and that spirit, but you're also very calculated. Tell me about your mindset as a martial artist.
A mindset. I definitely tried to be smart. I never want to brawl. My plan is to always be, this is my goals when I fight. My goal is always to win, number one, being entertaining and taking little damage and being as dominant as possible. And if a guy's a striker, I'm going to take him down. If a guy's a jiu-jitsu guy, I'm going to keep it standing. I'm not going to let my ego get in the way.
Who are some of your favorite fighters, man? Do you take a lot of influence from maybe a guy like GSP or Demetrius Johnson? The reason I ask that is because that's their approach as well.
You know what? I actually, currently right now, my dad actually bought me a book from George St. Pierre, and I'm reading George St. Pierre. I'm reading that book, and I used to not like George St. Pierre. I used to think he was really boring, just take the guy down and just lay and pray. But after reading this book, he really opened my mind up. And I definitely look up to him now, as well as Conor McGregor. I like how he fights. I like his personality. I love how he handles the business part of MMA. And also, Jose Aldo, who recently just fought, even though he lost, I remember when I first saw him fight against Mark Hominick, his boxing. Me and my mom were watching that fight, and she was just saying, "Man, look how he weaves. He's so good." And ever since then, I've always tried to work on my weaving and my boxing. But obviously, at first, it's different from just watching and doing it and actually getting the training, which is now what I'm starting to get.
Speaking of Jose Aldo, I mean, could you believe what Max Holloway did to him last night?
Yeah, I had a feeling Max Holloway was going to win. Jose Aldo hasn't looked the same since the Conor McGregor knockout. When you take that kind of a knockout like that, it definitely knocks some years off your fight career. And that's something that I will always avoid at all costs to make sure that doesn't happen to me. Because I see what happened to Jose Aldo. He didn't look that good against Frankie Edgar in the rematch. And but surprisingly, though, I thought he won round 1 and 2 against Max Holloway, but then he got a TKO, lost by TKO in the third round.
Man, it seemed like a smart strategy on Holloway's part because, you know, he historically is a slow starter. And Aldo, he comes out hard those first 3 rounds. And it almost seemed like Holloway was taking his time, waiting for Aldo to fade a little bit. And then he just went out there and put it on him.
Yeah, he did. I don't know if that's a smart strategy, to be honest. Yeah, take the shots to the face. That strategy, I feel like, will last you. If you're young, can last you a good amount of years. But once you get older, all that damage will start taking a toll, and your chin won't be able to handle as many strong punches, power shots, and you will never. Let me tell you this: you will never see me do that strategy.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, man, because, you know, there's only so many times that you can take those kind of shots. But right now it's working out, but eventually, you know, father time is going to catch up like it does with every fighter. But, Diego, how much does it mean to you to be a proud Mexican warrior?
Man, I really am proud to represent Mexico, even though I was born in Georgia. But both my parents came from Mexico. They came here illegally. Across the border, and my mom tells me stories all the time, especially when I was younger, how hard life in Mexico was for her. And it just makes me realize, like, wow, I am really lucky that I'm here in America with all these opportunities. And I see that life she had in Mexico really, it makes her work harder, I feel like. Or it gives her the work ethic that she has. I believe she's the hardest working person that I know. And I have observed, and it has rubbed off on me. And I try to work hard in training, hard in the practice room, hard even in life, in the workforce, as a person. because I could be ungrateful. You know, she made the ultimate sacrifice coming here, and I just want to. That's my way of saying thank you to her, or at least I tried to.
How do you balance everything, man? Because obviously you have such a strong work ethic, but look, you're a fighter, you're trying to go pro, you have a full-time job, you're a student. How do you balance all these things, man?
Well, you know what? I'm a part-time worker now. I'm working 20 hours. I make $9 an hour, so I'm not making too much money. I recently got a new training schedule, is what I say. I used to, just train, wake up at 7 in the morning, work out 8, do some MMA 10 to 11 and jiu-jitsu, and then train that once at night. I completely changed that around after my loss recently in Florida. And I said, you know what? I want to be the best. And what I'm doing right now is obviously not working. So today, I'm going to give you an example. Today, I woke up at 4 in the morning just to train, just to work out. And after that, I went to work from 6 in the morning until 11. Then after that, I went to Knuckle Up, which is one of my teams that I fight at. I trained there for about an hour, did some hard sparring there. And then afterwards, took a 2-hour break, took a nap because obviously I was exhausted, tired, sleepy from waking up at 4 in the morning. And I came to where my parents own a gym called the Dojo. And I did some jiu-jitsu training and conditioning and agility training with 2 other guys that I know. And we trained for 2 hours there. And now I'm here talking to you. So I'm constantly working. I feel like I'm going to outwork every single person, every opponent that I will ever have. And that's my goal, is to always outwork them. And actually, I got that from Floyd Mayweather. I've been looking at his videos and seeing that he wakes up at 3 in the morning, too, works out at 4 or 5, multiple hours. And I said, you know what? If that's what it takes to be a champion, so be it. That's what I will do. So that's what I've been doing now.
That's the sign of a future world champion. Now, I've said for a long time, because obviously I've known you for a while, that you're the Robert Whittaker of the flyweight division. And what I mean by that is, you bounce around like a karate guy, but you got the hands of a boxer, but you also have a wrestling background. So tell me about how you incorporate all those styles of martial arts into the one dynamic style that is Diego Bautista.
Thank you for saying the Robert Whittaker, that I fight like him. But I started with karate when I was either 5 or 6, around that time, with my dad at the dojo. He made karate fun, but man, I did not like it for some reason. Like he would make it fun when I was here. I was like, oh yeah, I'm having fun. But before coming and then after leaving the dojo, I was like, all right, I don't want to do karate anymore. And I was like that until I was 10. So from like 5 to 10, I was like, man, I hate karate. And then at 11, my dad started teaching jiu-jitsu at the dojo. And man, let me tell you, I was the worst at jiu-jitsu. I got beat by the girls. I was like the worst one. Everybody was better than me. I don't know if it was because I was the smallest or what, but I was just bad. And I hated jiu-jitsu. And then when I was 13, though, I started getting little muscles, I guess. The testosterone started building in. I started getting good at jiu-jitsu. I was like, you know what? I love jiu-jitsu now. I did a lot of tournaments in jiu-jitsu, traveled a lot all over the Southeast, Florida, Tennessee, the Carolinas, all over Georgia, Alabama, competed in the jiu-jitsu tournaments. I had mixed results, but I just loved it because, win, lose. And then once I entered high school, I did high school wrestling. And once again, I sucked. I was really bad. I was really bad as a 9th grader. I was so bad that I lost to a girl in wrestling. And it was crazy because I thought I was really good. Everybody was calling me the future because I had jiu-jitsu as a background. And all my teammates, the seniors, the juniors, they're like, man, they would say, Bautista, you're the future, man. They would see how hard I work. But I don't know. I lost to a girl. My record was 9 wins with 16 losses. And I was like, man, I think I'll have to quit wrestling. I'm just not that good. The only reason why I even joined wrestling was for MMA, to be honest. I was like, I don't want to do wrestling. I don't even love wrestling. I'm just doing it for MMA because some of the best fighters have wrestling. But then I just stuck with it, and eventually I got better, but not that good. You know, as my last year, after 4 years of high school wrestling, I barely made it to the state championship tournament as the last seed, the eighth seed going against the number one seed. And, you know, my mindset just completely changed for that tournament. For some reason, that was my whole goal as a ninth grader, was to make it to state championships and become the state champion. You know, realizing, like, man, I'm just not good enough. But then the state tournament, when I realized I was going against the guy who's supposed to win it all, my mindset just changed. I said, you know what? This has been my goal for 4 years. If I beat this guy, everybody else will be easier, and my dream of becoming a state champion will happen. And I ended up losing to him by 2 points, but it just changed my mindset because I felt like that was the first time I ever believed in myself, really believed in myself. And then right after high school, I had my first MMA fight. That's how I got my style. But my boxing, though, recently, I just started working with a pure boxing coach, Jesus Portilla. Started with last year, to be honest. I started my boxing with him last year, and I feel like I have improved with my hands, leaps and bounds. So I have wrestling, jiu-jitsu, karate, and now boxing. So I actually kind of get frustrated when people say I'm just a wrestler. I'm just a karate guy. I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm everything. I'm the complete fighter.
Do you take any satisfaction out of the fact that all your success and accomplishments is strictly due to hard work? And the reason I ask that is because, you know, you haven't been handed anything. You had to work and take everything that you have here today.
You know, I am very proud. You know, when I look back and I think to myself, I go back to my high school, to my 2 former high schools that I wrestled at. You know, I helped them out with wrestling, and I always tell them, you are better than me when I was in your grade. You know, if someone's a ninth grader, I said, you were better than me than I was when I was a ninth grader. So you know what that means? You can be better than me once you're done with, as a senior, or once you're done with high school. You can place. I never placed in the state championship. You can place. You can be the state champion. You know, I tell them that. But I am proud that my work ethic, that working hard, everything that I've earned has been through the work ethic, through hard work. But I'm not satisfied yet. I do have 2 losses on my record, and those 2 losses, they burn. You know, it makes me want to work harder. And but there's going to be, eventually in the future, I'm going to go on a win streak, and I'm going to say, look back. I lost my first fight, won 2 fights in a row, lost my next fight, 2-2. Who ever know that this 2-2 guy would have been who he is now? And that's gonna be when I can say that, I'm gonna be very satisfied.
Now, I know you're a guy that visualizes. I know you're a guy that thinks a lot. When you look at the top level of the flyweight division, you know, I'm talking about guys like Demetrius Johnson, guys like Ray Borg. I mean, how far away do you think you are from guys like that? I'm also a very honest person. I have a long way to go, you know. That level, well, you know, now that I'm training all the time, constantly, waking up at 3 just to go train, not going to bed until 10, 11 o'clock, losing sleep over this, not hanging out with friends, not going to the club, I'm just focusing on training. If I keep this up, I believe 3-4 years I'll be up there. Well, it all starts with your next fight, and it's your first headlining fight. You're fighting for the title. I mean, you must be pretty stoked, right? I am. Actually, I talked to the promoter yesterday. The matchmaker yesterday. He told me that they found a female main event. The place that's hosting the fight, they really wanted a female main event. So they said, all right, we'll find a female main event. So now me and my opponent, whose name is Jacob Clemens, we're now the co-main event. And I'm extremely excited, though, to fight for my first Emmy belt. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the first fight of the night or the last fight of the night. You're still going to get locked into a steel cage with another grown man, all the bragging rights. Everyone's going to be watching, and now there's a title on the line.
Yes, for sure. Like I cannot wait to showcase my new skills, my new training schedule, my new work ethic that has been put into this fight. Like everything changed just for this fight. I've added different things that I didn't do before to last fight. So I'm always something that I read from George St. Pierre in his book was that he's always trying to innovating his training. And I said, you know what? I need to open my mind and I need to do that. So I added gymnastics. I added swimming. I added calisthenics. I go to the park and move my own body weight. You know. So I added those things, and I've added 4-mile runs. I added bike riding to my workout.
Do you feel like that's paying dividends? And the reason I ask, man, you know, obviously I was at your last fight, and it's funny because you go out there, you dominate the guy for the entire, you know, the duration of the fight. And then afterwards on your Facebook, you're all like, oh, I'm sorry if that was laying prey. And to me, look, not only am I a fan of the sport, but as a betting man, when I look to bet on someone, I want guys that fight the way you fought. You know, smart, no unnecessary risks, do whatever it takes to win. So, I mean, were those some of the things that you learned from your last loss and that you applied going forward?
My last loss, I went down to Florida, and actually none of my coaches, none of my family were able to go to Florida. You know, everybody's working, so no hard feelings there. And I was expecting, I was like, all right, I don't care if I'm gonna be alone. You know, this is I'm an amateur. This is a great experience to fight out of state. I'm the enemy. He's the hometown favorite. This is just great. This is great for my career. But when I actually had Juan Puerto, though, a Georgia MMA fighter, or he was. Now he's down in Florida. He was there cornering one of his teammates, and then I got lucky. He started cornering me. But that whole experience and going down to Florida, training hard, and then losing, and not just losing, but being embarrassed. First round, under 1 minute, submitted with a choke. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was really down. I lost motivation. I lost my drive to train hard. I was like, you know what, man? I got to fight with Sean Gallagher. He's tall. He's got heavy hands. In the Florida fight, I actually got knocked out. Then I woke back up, and he got me with the choke. I was like, Sean can do that to me. You know, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, you know, or I don't know what's the plan. But then this is my dream. Like it slowly brought me back. So I was like thinking like that for about 5 days, and then I was like, you know what? I love this. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I said, let's try it again. I know Sean Gallagher has got heavy hands. Like I said, he knocked out one opponent. He dropped another opponent. Dangerous. These were both dangerous guys, and I'm like, and they were both bigger than me, and I'm smaller than both of them. And I was like, he could easily do that one uppercut, and I'm out. And I said, so I had to be smart. I was like, I had to take him down, and I couldn't let him back up. That's for sure. So I trained hard for that. That was the game plan.
Man, it was beautiful execution of that game plan. And, you know, back to my earlier question, I mean, do you feel like the work you've been putting in, the extracurricular stuff you've been doing, the gymnastics, you know, waking up at 3 a.m., do you feel like that's what ultimately led to such a dominant victory that night?
Well, actually, this new workout routine, this new schedule, I started for this Jacob Clemens fight. Immediately after the Sean Gallagher fight, took a week off, and then I started doing this. Before the Sean Gallagher fight, I was still training hard, but it was definitely not as what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm running on 3, 4, or 5 hours of sleep. I'm not always constantly, you know, training like I am now. But I still did work hard in the gym. I still listened to the coaches as best I could, and try to innovate. You know, I always would study his fights, his videos. I would always watch it every night. Every day before I went to bed, I would watch it. And that's what I'm also doing now with the Jacob Clemens fight. Every night before I go to bed, I watch his fights. And even when I'm eating lunch, I watch his fights. I want to be like every normal person. I want to watch a Netflix show, but I choose to watch his fights. I want to know him better than he knows himself.
Yes, sir. Now, tell me a little bit about your future goals, Diego.
Future goals. my goals have recently changed. I used to always want to put on an entertaining fight, but now I can care less about entertaining fight. I want to dominate a fight. I don't want there to be close to entertaining. I just want it to be dominant, like not even close. Like there's no, without a doubt, I win fights. That's for my next fight against Jacob Clemens. I will win every single round, maybe a 10-8 rounds. And after I finish him, go on to the next one, win. I want to win the NFC title at 135. I want to win the Valor title at 125. I also want to win it at 135. And down in Florida, the organization I fought for is Extreme Fighting Nation. I want to win the 125 belt there. So once I want to do that, those are my what do you call it, the near goals or the
short-term goals.
The goals, short-term goals. There we go. Those are my short-term goals. Then my goal is to turn pro by next year January. I can start making money. I'm tired of being broke. You know, your typical broke college student. And I want to win the Georgia title here, the NFC, the flyweight belt, and the bantamweight belt. I know a lot of people are afraid to move up in weight, fight bigger guys, but I'm not afraid. I've always been the smaller guy. So I believe I can do 125 and 135. Then I want to fight all over the United States, all over the world. You know, not just with one. That's not just with NFC, the biggest organization in Georgia. I want to fight all over, and then get the call to the UFC and win the flyweight belt, then move up and win the bantamweight belt. And to be honest, I've been boxing a lot with Jesus, and I'm actually doing a boxing tournament in August. I can tell you, I love boxing as much as I love MMA. Who knows? Once I win 2 belts in the UFC, I might just stop MMA and go to the boxing world and win a belt there. Multiple belts in the boxing world.
Big goals, my friend. Now, for the time being, do you have a message for the NFC flyweight and bantamweight divisions, man? And Valor as well?
Yes. I want to fight all of them. Well, actually, not all of them. I want to fight the toughest competition, the toughest guys. If you're not on my team, you're my enemy. I don't want to train with you. I don't want to be friends with you. I want to fight you. After I win, then we can be friends. Especially in Valor. That's Tennessee, or usually they're in Tennessee. I can care less about them. I can care less what they think of me, what they say about me. I just want to fight, and I want to win belts, and I want to get my name out there, and they will know my name. I'm one of the most feared. I believe one of the most feared competitors in the flyweight and bantamweight division in Georgia, and I plan to be the most feared competitor in the world.
Now, Diego, you know I can't let you go without a fight prediction, man. So I got to know your opinion on this one, man. Jon Jones is taking on Daniel Cormier. It's the rematch. I mean, we saw what happened the first time, but as you know, every fight is different, man. Do you think that this is a case where Jones simply has DC's number, or do you think that DC can make the proper adjustments and hand Jon Jones his first legitimate defeat?
I think Jon Jones is just better than Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier does work hard. He does train hard, but so does Jon Jones. And I believe Jon Jones is just better. I believe he's also the greatest fighter currently. He's the greatest fighter in my opinion. Better than George St. Pierre, better than Anderson Silva, better than any other fighter. So DC is just simply just the second best guy.
Well, Diego, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me right here, right now on Half the Battle. It's been an absolute pleasure, my man. Let the audience know where they can follow you on social media and anything else you want to tell the fans. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can add me on Facebook at Diego Bautista, and you can also add me on Snapchat. I like to be on Snapchat a lot, just have fun on Snapchat. UFC Diego, Diego, how you spell Diego.
Awesome. Well, Diego, thanks again for the time, and good luck in the next step, man.
Thank you, Daniel.